Brainwashed with Dr. Tom and Guitar Picks with Cyril Lance. Taj Mahal.
The same brother, he went away to college, and he sent me a tape. And it was 2 Taj Mahal albums, and it was his natural blues, and it had fish and blues on it. I think this one. I'm going fishing all of the time, and my baby going fishing too. Bet my line, bet my rod, I'm gonna catch more fish than you. I said many fish bites if they got good baits, and here's a little tip that I would like to relate. With my pole and my line, I'm going fishing, yes, I'm going fishing, and my baby going fishing too. Anyway, so and Taj Mahal, he's another one of these people, just one of my favorites. He's just the real rootsy thing, and he to me was a real bridge between the old like Muddy Waters and even further back, Robert Johnson, and there's this whole legacy of blues musicians we're so fortunate to have grown up with. But he kind of like hooked into that hippie movement and he kind of brought that music to I think a lot of the white audience in a way that other people, we was really making it relevant. He did these huge concerts at Fillmore East with 3 tubas, and his music is so joyous. And Taj Mahal to me, he's the definitive bluesman of the modern time.
Mm-hmm. But he does a lot of world stuff too.
He does a lot of world stuff. In fact, on another track on here, he's on a world music stuff. Mm-hmm. But Taj, like a lot of the jazz musicians too of African American descent, they kind of in the 60s and 70s they were back to the Africa movement, and they started going back to Africa, and a lot of them became Muslim, rededicated themselves to that life, and they started going back and finding the roots to their music, and bringing back and making that applicable into what they're doing now. Mm-hmm. Taj Mahal, this album, Senior Blues, I think it only came out maybe a couple years ago, and I think it got a Grammy, but it's just a fantastic album. If you're into this type of music, everybody needs to have this, I think. And it's got everything. It's got a Horace Silver song on it, one of the great jazz composers of our time and piano players. It's got a Hank Williams tune on it. But this tune I chose, 21st Century Gypsy Singing Loving Man, is to me Taj at his best. It's kind of like, it's real sentimental, it's honest, and he's saying I'm a modern bluesman, but he's connecting it to this long tradition, of the troubadour and the kind of like the wandering minstrel, and the whole concept, like a musician. The musician life is a hard life, and it's because you're kind of connected to people, but you're apart in a way. You're on this trip. Taj Mahal, singing, guitar playing, soul. He's just one of my favorites in the blues world.
Okay, it's Brainwashed with Dr. Tom and Guitar Picks with Cyril Lance. R.L. Burnside, Wish I Was in Heaven.
R.L. Burnside. Okay, now we're going back down to Mississippi. We're getting real back into the blues. So, as I said, I had that Muddy Waters album. I had it probably like 15 years before I ever even thought about looking into the blues, which was kind of atypical. Because I think most of the kids, I was growing up with, they'd get one thing and then they'd go out and buy everything they could find. But I just, for some reason, was never like that. And I didn't really discover R.L. Burnside until not too many years ago. Mm-hmm. But, that Mississippi Delta music always fascinated me. And then, I started really, I'm very gravitated towards this kind of like very drone, no chords. Mm-hmm. It doesn't even have to have the right rhythm or anything. And R.L. Burnside is kind of like from that Mississippi Hill Country tradition, and he's got just an incredible voice. And this tune, I just think, it just makes me feel, just all his pain and all his joy at the same time. It's just very honest. And this album that it comes from is a modern album. And what I love about it's got modern production. It's got like drum samples on it. Mm-hmm. It's got all sorts of modern effects with echoes and stuff. But he's in there doing this old blues stuff that is, So to me, he's a direct legacy, and he's totally connected. And he's kind of been rediscovered now, which I think is great. and he's got that voice.
Tell us about the current group of guys you play with.
Well, I'm very fortunate. I have my own band, the Cyril Lance Outskirts of Infinity Collective Experience Orchestra. It's about all the musicians in the band and about the audience.
Yeah.
And it features Chris Carroll on bass and vocals, and also the drummer Kelly Pace. And Kelly and Chris and I were on the road for 3 years together with Mel Melton. And then my buddy Matt Jensen, who's one of my soulmate musicians from up north, I flew him down because I always knew that he would hook up great with these guys.
Yeah.
And I'm very fortunate to meet Dave McCracken, who's another Greensboro staple. And so we have a great time. I'm really proud of my band. And kind of the vision, artistic vision concept of it is to kind of mix. It's always keeping that real roots, soulful blues, deep, gritty feeling in everything we do, but putting all these influences that you're actually hearing today. You know, some of the jazz, some of the world music beats, some of the, even some like the Hawaiian, some folk music concepts. We have just a great time playing, and we're really not afraid to just try anything, and that's what I want.
Brainwash for Dr. Tom, guitar picks with Cyril Lance, Danny Gatton, Reckless.
Danny Gatton, what an incredible guitar player. I love Danny Gatton. He's pretty much everything that we've been talking about. He's a mixture of blues, he's a mixture of rock, and like only a handful of musicians in history, he carved out his own style and his own sound. If you put on a Danny Gatton album, you know exactly. I have a Telecaster, which is what he plays, but I can't really do his telly stuff. But, he really got into the rockabilly stuff. But he had incredible control of jazz harmonies, of blues, of rock, any style he wanted to do. And he just real fun. And it's not going to work too well on this guitar, but he had that kind of country twang to him, and I'm not very good at that style, but Catfish Palm album is a dedication to him, and Danny Gatton killed himself, which to me is a great tragedy.
Yeah.
And just as he was really starting to gain national recognition for his contributions on the instrument. So this song is a slow blues, which I'm very partial to slow blues, and it's just it's got just real guts. It's got raw emotion and incredible virtuosity. And the other thing is that Joey DeFrancesco is the B3 player on this album. He's probably one of the top B3 players. So it also gives me a chance to kind of showcase the sound that I love so much. A guitar, a Hammond B3, drums, and the bass, which is either done by the B3 or a separate bass player.